basic spiritual definition for life is that it's a journey. It's a journey from the unconsciousness to higher consciousness. Right? Now, if you all take a moment and feel how that is from the way we usually perceive, right? We all wanted to fix our lives, we want to change our lives, we want to control our lives. Imagine 1 second, like what it would be like to let go of this whole struggling game of resistance, right? Instead of trusting it. It's totally different, right? If you even think about it. So, life is not just a random series of events that happens because you did something wrong or you did something right. Instead, itself is an intelligent unfolding. So that it is revealing itself to you all day long in every experience, bringing you each step closer from the unconsciousness into a state of higher consciousness. So your life is a journey from unconsciousness to higher consciousness, masters. And this journey is described in 6 phases. And this wisdom is from the book Mary O'Malley, What's in the Way is the Way. So, this is her book. So, the 6 phases, if we look at them, is like life happens to you. That is the first phase. Life happens by you. Life happens in you. And life happens for you. And life happens through you. And life is you. So, these are the 6 levels. So life happens to you. So this is the first stage, right, of these consciousness levels. So most human beings are even the good amount of time in our life live with this feeling. That is, life is happening to us. We never know what is going to happen in the next moment. You wake up, right? And morning one morning your heart is light and happy, and other day you are restless and unsettled. One day you are happy that you bought the house, and other day your boss fires you. One day you are sick, one day you are loved, and one day you are rejected. So every day we get little older, closing to death, right? So the more unconscious we are, the more often we feel like the victim to this life. Right? We always think, oh, these things always happens to me. I know my life is like this only. Right? We have this kind of thinking patterns. So when we believe in the fact that life is happening to you, we often view it as a possible threat. So you stay caught up with your mind, and mind always creates stories. Mind is a very good storyteller, and it makes you get lost, and it will make you resist, react, defend, and explain, logical explanation, defending, and hoping to figure everything is okay. And when this becomes too uncomfortable, this suffering becomes too uncomfortable to live with such powerfulness, you evolve into the next level, kind of belief that life is happening by you. So, this is the second level of the higher consciousness. So, in the first level, we are like a victim mentality, right? So, here, rather than being a victim to life, you believe that you can control it. So there can be a great feeling of that personal power, in this level of consciousness. It is necessary to, it becomes necessary to step out and to move out of this victimhood of this first stage. But what happens again, people get caught in this second stage as well. There is so much of storytelling in this phase as well. Your mind creates a lot of stories. It makes you believe that, in order for any good to happen, it has to make it happen. Right? In the first level was We are hoping that everything will be okay. In this stage, what happens? We have to make something, right? So we set the goals, we work very hard, and if they don't happen as we want, we feel ashamed when everything doesn't follow through. Again, none of this is bad or wrong, right? Making goals, setting goals, these are very, very important tools to use in this path of awakening. And sometimes, most of the times, they actually work, right? But what would it happen if you realize, if you recognize that, rather than trying to make things happen, if you open into life, that will bring you what you mostly deeply long of, right? We don't see things as they are, we see them as we are, right? So instead of resisting or instead of trying to make the life work, we have to open to the life. So in this phase, right, again, we are cut off from the creative flow of life, believing that, we are in charge of this life. You are mainly identified with this conceptual world, right? You try to create the reality rather than showing up for the reality. And when you have lived this phase for too long, then you start seeing the reality. Like, this is endless game of struggle. You get tired, right? And then we go into the next level. So after long enough in the second phase, life happens by me. Then eventually you begin to see that all of your reacting, controlling hasn't brought you that easiness or the joy you have been longing for. So instead of being the victim to your own life or needing to make it by any particular way, what you do is you begin to get the feeling that life is something to be listened to, open to. And this is where you start evolving into the third phase, that is, life is happening in you. Right? In this phase, you begin to realize that, something very startling, something very different. Most of the time, rather than experiencing life, you think about it. So, seeing only the thoughts in your head, you start observing your own thoughts. So, when you experience life through your thoughts, which is a good step or the first step into the evolution. But what happens is you stop experiencing as it is. You are experiencing life through your own thoughts, but you stop experiencing as it is. So we don't see things as they are, we see them as we are, right? With our own thoughts and perceptions. So in this phase, you realize that, suffering is not coming from the experiences of your life. Instead, it is coming from the stories about what is happening. So it is coming from inside of you. So one day you are just fine, and other day you are miserable. And you may say because of the day or some situation, but it comes from your own story about that day, not the day itself. And this is where you begin to start turning your life. Most of us, we call it as a U-turn, right? We start evolving, we start seeing things in a different way. And you start becoming less interested in being a victimness to all your life or everything trying to make it to be different than it is. And you realize that the healing that you have been longing for comes when you turn your attention within. Okay? So the more you become curious about what is happening rather than reacting and control, the more you come to a wonderful realization that life is for you. Right? This is the next phase, right? So rather than life being something that is happening to you and that you must control, You realize that there are no ordinary moments at all. You are one step further on this journey to this higher consciousness. So, life is not any random series of events, masters. Life is highly intelligent. It's unfolding, that it is putting you in the exact situations that we need in order to see and disconnect from this mind stories that keeps you, which is has been keeping you separate from this flow of life. Okay, so no matter what is happening in your life, you finally understand that life knows what it is doing. So life happens for you. So this is the next level of consciousness. So at this level of consciousness, rather than life being something you have to mold or you have to shape into what you wanted it to be, you start begin to show up for life exactly as it is. You are ready for the experiences. Yes, again, in the life, the flow of life, it includes pain, it includes loss, challenges, suffering, death, right? But the resisting the pains of life only turns them into suffering. And the suffering that comes from the resistance is always much greater than directly experiencing pain, masters. So every little moments of curiosity about what is going on right now, right? And if we put the awareness into it, that day becomes very powerful. So every time you respond rather than react to what is going on inside of you, uh, and what was formerly has been stuck, right? That lot of energy, what has been stuck, now it begins to loosen, right? This is the fifth level of higher consciousness. Sorry, the fourth level of higher consciousness. So now let's go to the fifth level. That is the life happens through you, right? So the for you phase, right? The fourth phase of higher consciousness shows that there is no such thing as any ordinary moment in your life and helps you to see that life is speaking to you at all the moment, every moment. So becoming curious about what you are experiencing and giving that light of compassion, that attention, so it can let go. Then you evolve into the next level of consciousness of allowing life to move through you. And this is where you recognize that life is trustable. Of course, it is not always likable. You may not like it, but you understand. It knows that what it is doing. Rather than struggling with life, you open to it. So even when you are facing deep challenges, if you find yourself caught in that reaction, which is very normal, right? But again, you get that energy, you get that awareness, you give your reaction the attention. It needs to let go. So you experience deep gratitude, masters, for absolutely everything. You see that life is dependent on every ounce of creativity that has ever happened so far in the universe. Right? Universe has been creating for us to have this exact moment. So all that has happened to you, even the difficult, has been part of your journey. Right? Journey of what? Your own life. So step by step, right? Life is bringing you into higher consciousness, into the ability for us to be fully present, for us to be fully here for the life. Okay? Hope I am not going too fast. So, uh, so we have been discussing, right, the levels. So the first level is life happens to you. This is the victim stage. Like life feels very unpredictable and threatening. We resist, we react, and we even try to control the outcomes. Right? And the second level is life happens by you, and this becomes the power game, the controller stage. We believe that we can shape our life through effort, through strong will, by goals, achievements, success. We dominate, right? This is all about the second stage. And then comes the third stage, that is life happens in you, and this is mostly the awakening stage. So we begin to notice our own inner world, our own thoughts. Then suffering is seen as arising from our own stories, not the real experiences or the events that is happening. This is the most important stage. This is like a U-turn for us. That's why we call it as the awakening stage. And then comes the fourth level of consciousness, that is, life happens for you. This is where you start trusting. This is the trust stage, right? Here you understand that life is an intelligent and it's purposeful. Every experience is an opportunity for growth. So you start trusting the life. And next one is the fifth level we have just talked about. It's the life happens through you. This is the surrendering stage. And we become vessels for the life's flow. Right? However, the flow, we become that vessel. And in this one, we have a lot of creativity, we have joy, and our presence emerge naturally. We are more aware, right? We are ready to experience whatever the life is giving us. This is the fifth level. Now comes the last level, that is the sixth level of consciousness. It is the life is you. So the more you can stand with life, right? The more time you are in the fifth level, allowing it to move through you rather than reacting to it or controlling it, the more you begin to get the glimpses of the sixth level of consciousness, in which you see that life itself is you. There is no separation. You are no longer a separate being. Instead, you merge completely back into this flow of life, this creativity of life, understanding that everything is same, like every rock, every person, the cloud, sky, small atom, plant, small ladybug, a tree. Everything is you. You don't see that separateness at all. And this is my favorite quote, masters, from the Eckhart Tolle. If you know, he is the spiritual teacher, and he has written the books of Power of Now and New Earth, right? So this is the famous quote from him. So you are not in the universe, you are the universe, right? You are an intrinsic part of it. So ultimately, you are not at all like a person, right? But a focal point of this entire universe that is trying to become conscious to itself. Isn't that a miracle, masters? It's a wonderful miracle, right? So, this is the last stage. Life is you. That is the unity stage. So, oneness stage. So, we realize that, we are not separate from life. All beings, all experiences are part of this same whole universe. So let us do a quick overview of what we all have discussed, right, in the 6 levels. So as you look closely at all these 6 phases of the higher consciousness, you will see that the first 2 phases are about fixing, changing, resistance, controlling, dominating, right? Life is happening to you and by you. So these phases are the world of your mind, completely the stories that is coming from your mind. And it doesn't want what is here, what is in the present. And it always wants what is not here, what is not in the present moment. This is in the first 2 level of the consciousness. And the next 2 phases is about using your own mind to be curious about what is happening rather than resistance and controlling. You are using your mind, but you are curious. You are using your own mind to understand the experiences, and you recognize that this mind, this storyteller inside you is what separating you from the real life, that is the flow of life. So rather than trying to change anything, you become interested uh, in what you are experiencing in any given moment, right? You start become interested, you wanted to see, you will show up in any moments of the life you wanted to experience. And the final 2 phases, the last 2 phases of higher consciousness are all about knowing our truth, our divinities, that is coming home, right? It is the main source of us, the true divinity, knowing the truth. So the more you live the truth that life is for you, or the more you relax into that flow, that bringing joy of life is moving through you, right? All that cloud, right, from the mind. So mind has been creating stories, and the layers of that cloud is so has become so thick, and in this phase it slowly start dissipating. So you not only recognize truth and love, you recognize that you are love. Life is you and you are life. There is no separation. So you are not in the universe, you are the universe, masters. You are an intrinsic part of it, right? And the first 2 phases are the doorway to all the next 4 phases. So you have to understand that, right? This is a paradoxical truth. This is very important to acknowledge that human beings are evolving from the first level of consciousness to the 6th level. So it is also true that most days we experience number of these phases in different experiences. At certain experience we can be in the first level, and to certain experiences we can be in the 6th level. So it is not about getting rid of any particular phase. Oh, the first phase is completely done, you are in the second phase. Of course you see the percentage of that being more in the of your evolution of the how you are perceiving the life, but you see everything in one day. You can see all these stages how you are experiencing in one day. And this is not about making one phase better than the other, right? This is not about telling that okay, this phase is better than the other one. They're all part of life. And as you evolve, you recognize that, and you will be able to embrace them all. So the first level is very, very important for the last level, right? So you will recognize it when you evolve into that stage. So you realize that, something very extraordinary is happening here. Your life is extraordinary, masters. There is no ordinary moments in your life. It is true that you wake up every day, you brush your teeth, you drive, you go to work, right? You get ready, you shower, you cook, you argue, you find love, you raise your children, you die. These are all things uh, like ordinary experiences, but underneath it all is the unfolding of this intelligent evolution, and you are part of that. So you are also an extraordinary being. Your life is extraordinary. So you are evolving from this unconscious human being into the conscious one. Right? And this is happening in every moment, masters, in every experience of your life, every single experience, and in every single moment. So that's why we should not miss any single moment. So, living from the belief that life is for you, you begin to let go of the belief that your suffering is caused by something outside of you, like that suffering is coming from other people, those people caused me suffering, or your jobs is making you suffer, right? You don't like your the shape of your body or the color of your body, the kind of partners you have, the type of health you have, the kind of past you had, or the sort of mindset you have. We think that these are all the reasons, these are all the situations that is making us suffer. But you let go and you begin to see that your suffering is coming from inside of you, from your own mind stories. Yes, there are difficult things happens in your life, right? But when you don't get lost in your own stories about them, you respond to that situation, right? And instead of reacting, you respond to them. And along the way, you gather the gifts that always embedded in the challenges of your life, masters. Even if you think back through your life, right, every challenge, it has given you a gift in the way of evolution. You learned something, right? You opened a new doorway to the life. So that is a gift, right? In every challenge, we have the gifts, right? This is the gift of higher consciousness. You see that, life is conspiring in your own favor. So, challenge is most people, we don't trust life, right? When challenges are there for us, it certainly feels very untrustworthy. Of course, life breaks your heart. It brings illness to your body. It feels like, times as though it gives you more than we can handle it. But if you don't trust it, how can you show up for it? How can you open to all that is offering to you in every experience you have? Right? So there should be a shift in our perception, masters, that will help you immensely in relearning how to trust life. So all this journey is we have to relearn, right? We have to learn how to trust life. And in that way, we discover that our life, rather than being something that needs to be controlled, it is something that is has to be open to, right? And that shift is we always have it, should trust that life is smarter than you. Life is smarter than you, than all of us combined. Life knows what it is giving to you. You should have that trust in this life, masters. So this is about the six levels of the higher consciousness. Again, this is from the book What's in the Way is the Way, and this is written by Mary O'Malley. If you haven't read this book, please read it. Very wonderful book, actually.